this works. Yeah, it looks like it's all running out here on for me, but okay. So here we are again. Let's just see if it picked up on YouTube. I normally set up yet another computer, but I did not do that today just to see if that was running. But I know that we're recording here. Anybody out there? Can you see us, hear us, whatever-ish? Okay. Let's
We are
proceed for a
live.
minute or two and see how this is going. Wait a minute. I think let
We're
me
back.
check on my phone.
Chris, were you saying you know that we're live?
Yep, we're back.
We're back. Okay.
All right.
Hello, everybody. We're
Hello,
back.
everybody. We're back. We're back. Oh, you gotta love this technology.
We missed you.
We
Yes,
missed
we missed
you.
you all.
Yeah,
We
missed
did.
you
We were
all.
just talking to ourselves, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just back up some slides here, guys, to where it locked up and we had to restart. So let's just here we go. Da, 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 da. Where were we when we blew up? About here, right?
I believe so.
I believe so. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about this. What do you need to make a backup power safely? You need a generator of some sort. You need a transfer switch, and you need to be able to have low enough wattage appliances so that you don't overload what you have for a generator. Can I plug my RV generator? A lot of you guys have got big RVs with built-in generators into my house panel. And in most cases, onboard RV generator is not suitable for temporary house power, simply because they don't make 240 volts. Now, if you have a small 3,000 watt one, you could probably run an extension cord in and get some stuff running. But what I found that nearly all 5 kilowatt and above RV generators are wired for 120 volts. They are not wired for 120, 240 split phase. So they will never run your well pump. They will never run your air conditioner in your house. They just won't do this. And I don't know why the RV industry did this. Well, I have a few ideas, but it just seemed silly. Okay, now we're going to talk about what we need on our house to plug a generator in. So you need to do this safely, you need some sort of a transfer switch. Now, here's a 10 circuit unit from Reliance, and you can see it's got all individual controls on here, so individual breakers, so that you can selectively control which appliances are powered up by this. So let's let Chris talk about that for a second.
Yeah, and I guess, to kind of back this up a step, and highlight the troubles of providing alternate power to your home. So, you go out, you purchase a generator, you bring it home, and you're all excited. The power's out, and you're gonna plug everything into it, and you start to quickly realize when you go to plug in appliances that you can't plug in your furnace. You can't plug in the well pump, and there's a whole bunch of things in your house that you need that now you don't have access to, and that's where transfer switches come into play. So we manufacture a wide variety that cover every application, and these 10 circuits, we'll go anywhere from 1 all the way up to 10 circuits, and they're kind of individually selectable for circuits in your home so that you can provide generator power safely and efficiently to all the things that you can't plug in. There's watt meters right on it, so you know exactly what the load on the generator is, so you're not overloading it. And you can manage that load very easily by just flipping a toggle switch back and forth, and it isolates utility power from your backup generator, inverter, what have you. So that's the ideal solution, and really makes power outages not seem as inconvenient as they typically would be.
Very good. Doop, 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 doop.
Mike, you had asked, I think the last time around, that from Chris, what something like that might range. What
Yeah.
is a transfer switch cost, low end to high end, what you might
Yes.
be looking at?
Yeah. So low end to high end, we have single circuit transfer switches. If you're just looking to power up a furnace, something to keep the heat on, that are around $100, and then up to the 10 circuit model there, that would be roughly four to 500, depending on the version and what accessories come with it, basically.
Very good. So I just lost my PowerPoint again. Good golly. I'm not having a good day here. Hold on one second. There we go. So, so you can get these in some locales that will allow you to do what we call a breaker lockout. And so in this case, what it will do is this is a thing you have to pull the panel off the front of your service panel. And mount this on here. So basically what it does is it forces you to turn off your mains before you can turn on a double pole breaker for your generator power coming in. However, some of those locales will not let you do this simply because, and Chris had noted, if you accidentally remove the panel in the front or don't have this lined up properly, that can defeat this lockout. And you can accidentally backfeed. You want to talk about that for a second, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, really, the kind of main concern there is that a lot of the linkages that are on the market do, like you said, attach to the front cover. So if there's anything not lined up properly or that cover's not there, you can end up in a situation where utility power, generator power are both trying to provide power to that panel at the same time. And then you've got a fight between the utility company and your generator. And in all of the instances I've ever seen, the generator loses 100% of the time, and it's catastrophic. In fact, I've seen generators start on fire because of it. So it's definitely make sure that any linkage kit that you're buying is UL listed, and it hopefully attaches to some other, via some other means than just the cover of the panel.
Right.
And Chris, you mentioned that your transfer switches automatically do this. Is that correct?
Yeah, so all of our transfer switches are designed so that it's virtually impossible to defeat the isolation that's built in there. Each one of the little toggle switches that you can see in that top row are basically their own little transfer switch. Inside that switch, there's a little rocker motion that only allows either the utility power or the generator power to be providing energy to that circuit at one time. So it's foolproof.
Nice.
That's what we like. The more foolproof, the better. Okay, and whoops, I don't know why this is all jumping around like crazy. Yeah, I've just got gremlins in my computer here tonight. Dun, 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 dun. You can also get, and this company, one company's been making one of these for a number of years, but it's not really available nationally. Something's called GenerLink. I've had a number of my readers ask about this. It's a quick but pricey solution for this. This is kind of looks like a little bucket. You've got to have the power company come out. They will pull your meter, stick this in, and you can plug your generator in the bottom of this. And then whenever the house power goes off, it goes, or when your generator power goes on, it actually has a transfer switch inside. However, it is only available in some of the smaller companies, power companies out there. We do not, and you can't buy it unless your power company approves it. So don't even bother to try. But I had a reader say that one of the power companies in California is installing them for free if you buy a generator. Isn't that crazy? So basically, what's happening is these guys want this so badly. Whoops, where are we going to get you on there? So, Aaron, we were talking about this company a while back, and they just have not really gotten the national attention or the national ability yet. But there, if you've got the money and you're in a locale, or maybe someone will give you one. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So let's, it's a great product. It works terrific, but as you mentioned, the power companies, there's tons and tons of power companies across the country, and they don't all talk, and they're
Right.
not all approved. And the bigger the power companies, the harder it is going to get approval. So I think that's been the real, upward battle for GeneraLink, is the fact that they're not approved everywhere, and some of the smaller co-ops have approved them, where it's been easier to get in front of the right decision makers. But good luck with some of the larger power companies.
Yep. Okay, never use a suicide cord. Suicide cord is aptly named. So this is a male-to-male connector that plugs into, the one side plugs into your generator, and the other side plugs into a home outlet or a dryer outlet or whatever. And the problem is, unless you do everything exactly right, you can backfeed power into the system. And this is one of the things that Chris was talking about earlier. If you accidentally cross-connect the two systems, either your generator is going to burn up, or if the power lines are down outside of your house, and you accidentally backfeed 240 volts into this is when it can be stepped up to 7,000 to 11,000 volts by your local transformer and energize those power lines, and you can kill a lineman with this. You don't want to be that guy that killed the power company's lineman. You really don't. You've got to be very, very careful with this.
Yeah, your neighbors won't stop talking about that one. And the other thing I'd like to just highlight on that one is if that suicide cord, as you said, aptly named, if you have that plugged into the generator and not plugged into an outlet on the other side, those prongs are live.
Right. Yeah. And Chris
Bad
and I have
situation.
Chris and I have talked about this a little bit. I'm a rock and roll sound engineer, and one of my jobs was to make systems work no matter what. I would have British sound systems that I would have to interface to American sound systems, that I would have guys coming in that didn't speak the language. I mean, this is crazy stuff. And I would occasionally have to do these kind of nutso, systems that would interconnect things. And there were male-to-male connectors. And it was terrifying. Mm-hmm. But I was there watching it, and I was the guy doing it, and I was the guy responsible for this. And I tell my other engineering guys, nobody do this. Nobody touch this. This is like the most darn dangerous thing you could do, because we were doing it with like 200 amp, 400 amp, services, big stuff. So yeah, don't do that. It is a really, really bad idea. Now, how big of a generator you need? I've gotten away with running a house off of as small as a contractor 5,000 watt generator. And there's not a whole lot of them available now at that small. But it's a 120, 240 volt split phase, which is what's coming into your house. A lot of people freak out when they say a 240 volt generator, but that's really what you need for the house. They can run most of your home appliances. And they're noisy because they're always running at full RPM, and they use a lot of fuel. Now, I've been doing a lot of experiments here with this lately. I think a better solution is like one of these 7 kilowatt dual fuel inverter generators. They're quieter than any contractor generator. They idle down during low power needs and will save fuel. And the propane/gasoline dual fuel models are great for home backup, because you can put, a 20-gallon tank on this out there, a portable one or one or two, and be able to run this thing for days and days. And many of these power outages last for a week or more now.
Yeah, Mike, I mean, you make a good point. These have become more affordable. They're definitely quieter. They definitely save fuel. And the fact that they're dual fuel, Duramax actually makes a tri-fuel, meaning you can use gas, you can use propane, or you can use natural gas. And so the homes that have natural gas, right, could actually pipe this in to where they have an unlimited amount of fuel.
Right.
And then if not, they can switch it to propane and use their, grill or barbecue tanks, as a backup or as a primary source of fuel. And as you mentioned before, they, not using gasoline doesn't, clog the carburetor. You don't have to worry about winterizing it and, water getting in the gas and the gas going bad and then having, a problem generator that you can't get started. With these, they even come with remote start or auto start. So
right.
Like your car, you can just click it and it'll start.
Inverter technology on there. The sine wave's a lot cleaner. So you're getting a little bit cleaner power for sensitive electronics and so on and so forth.
Right. Contractor generators, even though you would think that they would generate sine waves, the problem is the voltage condition or the voltage regulator on them are not the cleanest. And so they get all kinds of voltage spikes and carrying on with that. So inverter generators many times it's cleaner AC power than is coming in from the power company. I mean, we run sensitive stuff all the time off of these. Now, there's one of the issues here is how much can I run? Well, you can run all your lighting, your home computers, Wi-Fi, 240 volt well pumps. You should be able to run microwave ovens and induction cooktops. Should be fine to operate. You got to keep your refrigerators and freezers running. But what you don't want to do, is don't want to run your oven. Hang on one second. If you have a central air conditioner or a heat pump, you'll probably need to add a SoftStart unit to reduce the inrush current. And so one of the things that I found, I have a lot of Honda generators. I have an EU 7000, an EU 3000, a pair of 2200s, and a EX 1000 from the old days. And the reason why I have a lot of Honda stuff, first off, I've got these years ago when Honda was the only way to do this, but I would do a lot of rock and roll shows. And so I could start one of these up. I could run a band. I could run a sound system, lighting system off of these little systems now. But this Honda EU 7000 is, that's a $5,000 generator. You can get this guy here for what, $2,000, Aaron, I think?
Yeah, that's right. It's a little under $2,000.
Little under $2,000. Nearly as quiet. I don't have one to experiment with yet, but I'm planning on getting one here this spring and start to do some testing on it. So now, one of the things that you can do to really help with this is to be able to run your home air conditioner / heat pump on this. Now, Aaron and I now have got a good bit of experience installing these. He's probably got more experience now than I have. But they have a product called SoftStart Home from the same people that brought you SoftStart RV has been introduced. It works on most single and two-stage compressor units up to 6 tons. I've tested the inrush current reduction on 6 different units. And it also lowers the startup noise from the compressor. And they mount up like this. I mean, it's a pretty simple under an hour install by an air conditioner technician. And most of this is just routing the wires around and making them nice. So Aaron and I have done 6 of these so far. And I think it's simple enough to be done by an electrically savvy homeowner. If they're very careful with all of this. Some guys are good at this, some guys are not good at this. Please, if you're not comfortable around electricity, go hire a RV technician or an electrician or an air conditioner technician to do this for you because, we want you to be safe out there. So here we are down in Florida. Look, we're actually sweating in December. It was like 80 degrees down there. It was such a rough gig.
Yeah, it was tough.
But here's some of the numbers that I found. You could see, and this is the interesting thing. So air conditioner number 1 we installed, the stock inrush current was 118 amps. And what that does is that will trip many of these generators. They just won't start. Once we add a SoftStart Home on it, it reduced it down to 18.67 amps inrush, which was just crazy. Running current was about 10.5 amps. And you can see on the air conditioner number 2, we started with 62.4 amps inrush, and it reduced it to 27.4 amps of inrush, and it was nominally running at 8.4. And the number 3, it reduced 61 down to 21 amps. And on number 4, it reduced 109 amp inrush down to 28 amps. So number 1 and number 4, those things would never be startable off of a standard generator without adding SoftStart Home technology on them. And let me just show you a little bit how this works. I mean, I did a study on this a couple of years ago. So in the top picture here, the middle picture, the red one is a stock starting capacitor. So it's about a 1/6 of a second. And in this case, I was measuring in an RV air conditioner, so I had a 52 amp inrush. And the SoftStart RV slightly lengthened out the running time, the startup time here, but it reduced it to 24 amps peak, see, less than this. So I've got guys that say, why don't we just put a hard start capacitor on it because it costs $10? Well, here's what a hard start capacitor does. It pulls the full 52 amps for like a second and a half. So this will not help a generator start this. All this is really good for is when you're on a long run and you've got a compressor and you're trying to just force this thing to make it go. So it's not really for generator usage at all. It just isn't. Okay, so let's see here. So Aaron, you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you've seen with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've installed probably about 15 of these. You're right. It's not hard to do, but you definitely have to be electrical savvy, or, to be honest, you should always be hiring, in my opinion, a licensed contractor, electrical, HVAC, solar, whoever it is that's installing these. But yeah, they're not a hard install. They take, once you've done it, 20, 30 minutes at most to install it, right? Now, once you've installed it, you also want to let the system run for 30 minutes and just make sure everything's running correctly, set the temperature correctly on your thermostat and all of that. But I mean, I've just seen amazing results, as you just showed, of those 5. That's what we're seeing. An average system runs somewhere between 60 and 110 amps starting from the factory. And the fact that we're able to reduce that, 70% or so, puts it down into, like you said, the high teens to the high 20s for amperage, which then allows a generator to really be able to start that. The other side of that is that, if you want to power your air conditioner or multiple air conditioners or heat pumps off your generators, you're probably going to have to invest in the Generac or the whole home, standby generators, which are very expensive. We talked about solar being expensive, right? 30 to 50,000. Well, these standby, 24 kW generators, they're, $15,000 to $20,000 installs. So, and then the maintenance that goes with that. So the goal of adding the SoftStart allows you to be able to use a much smaller portable generator, like we talked about, an 8 or 9,000 kW generator, and still be able to power your air conditioner or heat pump along with, your other main devices.
Right. And, and one of the other things too is the fact that, a heat pump is much more efficient than electric space heating. So a lot of people don't understand that, which I think is an important aspect of this. If you have with a SoftStart product, it allows you the SoftStart home product allows you to run your air conditioner heat pump during the winter, and this can use they say, and I believe it because I've experimented with this now, like 50% or less of the power needed for standard resistance heating, because it's actually moving heat, it's pumping heat around, it's just not making heat. So that'll allow you with a smaller generator, and I've done experiments now with a 7 kilowatt generator can run a central air conditioner or a heat pump. And so what that means is if you take half the power, that means you can run for twice as long on the same amount of gasoline or propane. So what I use the mindset, I'm not a prepper that wants to go out in the woods by myself, but I don't want to be a problem when first responders come around. I want to be the solution with my own power. I don't want to be the guy that's begging somebody to do something for me. I'm just way too, I want to do stuff myself as best I can. And so this is why I think that the SoftStart home product is just really great for this sort of thing. So,
Well, yeah, I'd like to, add to that, Mike. I think, the one thing is that, our power goes out and you think, oh man, I need a heat source. So what do? You're going to go get a few space heaters, and you're going to try and plug those in. Those take a lot of energy, and they're just going to eat through the gas, and may even trip the generator. So the fact that you're able to either fire up your furnace, or you're able to get your heat pump going, using the SoftStart off your generator, is going to be a huge energy savings to that generator, and it's going to keep you a lot warmer throughout the house and safer.
right. And this isn't even just a comfort thing. This is a life and death thing, because we saw things like last year in Texas where they had a lot of the pipes and everything froze, and electricity went down for sections, and people were in basically freezing conditions for a week or more. And then what happened is, even though you bundled up yourself and maybe survived, it froze all the pipes in your house. And then there was this huge glut of when power came back on and when it started thawing stuff out, now you had burst pipes running water everywhere. And I had plumbers saying they can't keep up with all of the burst pipes in Texas from water pipes in the houses. I went, oh, brother, what do you do?
Well, and I would say, even on that note, what you don't even think about after that is, so if all the pipes burst in Texas, right, which a lot of them did, and then there's a run on copper and PVC, and then that becomes, an issue across the country, and then the
Right.
price goes up. And so it's just one thing after another, where if we can prevent these things from happening for everybody individually, each home is taking care of itself, right? It's going to be better for everyone.
Right. And it truly is. And yeah, we're all interconnected in a lot of different ways. No little city is an island. Everything comes from somebody else. And when you have a huge amount of resources have to go to one area, it sucks resources from other areas. And then nobody happy. It's just how that works. Okay, now it looks like we've got a couple people says they're back with us now. Okay, that's our presentation. We'll be adding more EBPC members, discussing solar panels, propane usage, other power technologies here in the future. So if you guys are on, I'll put us back up and we'll try to answer some questions.
And welcome
Okay.
back, folks. We missed you.
Welcome back, folks. And Terry says, whoops. There he is. He says, I'm back with you. Hey, Terry, do you have any questions for the astute panel here? Are you still online? Da, 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 da.
Terry gets an award for tonight. He has the best hat. I love that.
He
Terry,
has got the best
and
hat and beard, out there. I really think. I don't see him coming back on. So Tony says, hello, yes, can see and hear you now, but I don't have anybody else back on. I don't know if we've lost this or not. We might have to repeat this next week just because we've had so many crashy, crunchy things. But, this is how this
it's a
works.
warm-up.
This is the warm up. So you guys have anything else? We'll just chat for a minute or two, and if we don't get any back on, we'll sign off. Then we'll go see what happened, and then we'll reschedule and maybe do a repeat, an encore performance, I think they call it. Bravo.
All right, excellent. Yeah, I mean, I want to just say, people want to know, cost and things of that sort. Chris has told us a little bit about his. We mentioned the Duramax. I've kind of already looked at, what would the cost be to buy the generator, the transfer switch, the SoftStart, and get a licensed technician to install it. You can probably do it somewhere between, $3,500 and $5,000 would be my guess, depending on the size of the generator and if you went and got the inverter and everything like that. So, much more affordable than the standby whole home generators, the Generacs of the world and things of that sort. And, much more affordable than, of course, solar and batteries. So.
Right. And none of these things are just a single solution for everything. Solar would be great to add on if you could afford it and when you can afford it. Solar panels are getting cheaper, inverters are getting cheaper, and that sort of thing. And so that can be great. For instance, in my own house here, I've got natural gas coming in here. So I have a natural gas water heater, natural gas stove top, that kind of thing, although we like electric convection oven. Natural gas can be part of this. The propane is really, really important because it's so portable, and you can store a couple of units. The biggest ones I think you can move around are the 20-gallon ones, or like the 100-pound jobbers,
right?
Or so. Much bigger than that, you got to bury them, and then you've got to expect a delivery truck to come out in the middle of a power outage. I'm not sure you can expect the delivery truck to come deliver propane to you in the middle of the outage. But this is why augmenting this and the dual fuel stuff seems really, really perfect for this. So if you had a few jerry cans of gasoline and a few propane tanks. Okay, so here we go. Terry says, there are adapters for Jenny backfeeding a house that plugs into the electric meter. Any comments? Yes, we actually had a discussion on that, which you could go back and look at later. But that's the GenerLink products he's asking about. The one that I saw was about $1,200, but the problem is it's not really available in most states or for most power companies. It's kind of it would be an interesting thing if it was available. But it is not available yet at this point. But it could be installed by the power company guy in about 10 minutes, if so. Any other questions here? Terry's guy, let's see, he just says, Anybody else? Okay, so Patrick says, hello from Lincoln. Nebraska? Is that it? Any questions from anybody out here? I know we lost a lot of the guys because this whole system crashed. But like I said, I think we will reschedule a repeat of this since we know what we're doing, or we think we know what we're doing.
I think an interesting fact too, Mike, is that you talked about solar and batteries, and obviously that's a great option. But actually, I've been talking to solar, and there's something like only 30% of homes right now are have solar. Could be have solar as an option because you have trees, you have the way that the house roof line is, and all the different things. There's HOAs that don't allow it. All these different things are going on, right? So right now, not every house is a candidate for solar.
Right. And one of the things that I found that I think an important part of any of this energy usage is an important part of this is education. I had a local solar panel builder was going to be adding I don't know, a few dozen acres of this outside of the city limits out to where I used to live, and there was nothing out there. They had such a pushback from the neighbors in the area because these guys said that the solar panels are causing the earth to heat up, and that's what's causing climate change. Too many solar panels were doing this. And so I tried to explain to these guys, I had one other guy said, well, let's talk about physics. And they said, this isn't physics. This is electricity. And I'm going, guys, electricity is described by physics. It just is. But it was too late for me to do anything about it. It just really was. And now we're seeing more and more people coming online with electric vehicle and how do we charge these things. One of the things that I've looked at is adding, if I put enough solar panels, a couple of thousand watts of solar panels on my garage, I could set this up and plug in an EV or a plug-in EV. So that it would gain probably 25 to 30 miles a day just sitting there. My wife drives maybe 100 miles a week. So if she had an EV that was plugged into those solar panels, guess what? She would essentially be zero costs for gasoline at that point. But now, one of the things that I am working on also, and Chris and I have talked a little bit about this, Ford loaned me an F-150 Power Boost pickup truck last year. That thing has a built-in 7.2 kilowatt inverter generator that makes 120, 240 split phase. I think that it needs a special ground lift adapter to be able to plug into your house, but this would be a really, really good option if you wanted to have a pickup truck that could also power your house. I'm asking for another one to borrow one for a long-term experiment so I could try to power some houses with this. It's rated to, I think, to idle for like 87 hours continuous. I mean,
Wow.
and so you can basically think of this as a 7 kilowatt generator with a 36 gallon fuel tank and a 3.6 liter, twin turbo engine on it. But it worked beautifully for this sort of thing. I am not really happy with the idea of using like a Ford Lightning, which is a all electric unit, because if you can plug that into your house and power your house from it, but one of the problems with that is when you run out of power, you don't have any way to charge your pickup truck and you can't leave. And the requirements for this bidirectional charging are really, really expensive. I had one guy said it cost him $18,000 to put in the extra panel and do the hookups and everything just to get his Lightning to do bidirectional charging. That is,
Wow.
that the house would charge the truck would power the house. I thought for $18,000, I could put in a heck of a backup system.
No, exactly. I mean, again, the big standby generator companies, Generac and all those others, right? They have the big 24 kW systems, but you're going
Right.
to pay $18,000 for
Right.
that system.
You got to put
And
a
then
pad, you got to run a line, you got to do
quarterly or maintenance on it, and there's a lot
Right.
that goes to it. So.
Now, if you've got the money, it's great. It really is. I know some people have done that they've got solar panels and such, I know people that have spent $100,000. I personally know people that have spent $100,000 to do this, so that no matter what happens, they're going to have plenty of power. But how many people have an extra $100,000 laying around for that one moment when you really need this thing? Whereas if we can come up with an under $5,000 solution, and remember, that generator can be used for a variety of other things too. If you want to run a rock concert out in a field, you just put it in the back of your pickup truck and go. Okay.
Well, that
so
is what's cool about it, right? Portable is, I think, is pretty cool.
So one of the things that you could do is you could take stuff like that out to your own little camping spot. If you've got like 3 or 4 of your guys that want to go camp and boondock out in the woods, this is what I really liked about the F-150 Power Boost. I actually put a Y connector on it, was able to power 230 amp RVs at the same time. I just thought it was just so many things you can do with this. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna wrap it up here. So I'd like to thank Aaron and Chris for spending your time here. We'll do a replay on this here in another week or so. Sorry for the technical glitches, crazy stuff happening, little gremlins. But we now know a little better how to manage some of this stuff. And beyond that, I would like to thank you, myself, from RV Electricity. You can find a lot of my articles on my new Substack, rvelectricity.substack.com. And I will be including all of these new these new backup systems that we're doing. All right, very good. Thanks, everybody, and good night.
See you guys.
Good night, all. Thank you.